Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to talk about the emergence and development of American drama. Now, the beginning of American drama goes as far as 17th century, but it was only in 1920s it evolved into modern American drama. The 20th century American drama, as we know it today, has been shaped by every struggle, national, cultural, and artistic, the country has seen. In tracing the development of American drama, we will look at the various stages or levels it has passed through and the various forms or aspects of American drama. Now, like colonial drama, drama of American Revolution, nationalistic drama, romantic drama, and popular drama, etc. But first of all, we will look at the beginning of American drama. As we all know that Englishmen were the early settlers on the American continent, which they called New England. Now, these people were from England, and therefore the English love of theatre was the great influence of, was the result of the great influence of Elizabethan theatre, and that is why in the early times, the English immigrant resisted the strong opposition of the Puritans to the theatrical activities. Now, the Puritans were against theatre, whereas some of the Englishmen, they loved to watch theatre, theatrical performances, and there was a clash. Now, the Puritans, they resisted or they opposed the love of Englishmen towards entertainment and theatre. Now, the Puritans were concerned with the spiritual and physical survival in the world, which was new to them, or you can say which was alien to them and full of wilderness. Now, that is why the early settlers encouraged the Puritan idea of hard work, frugality, and piety. Puritans considered theatrical activity as something detested and unwanted. They were so against the production of drama that in 1665, when perhaps the first play was produced, and the name of the title of the play was Ye Bear and Ye Cub, the actors of that play were put on trial. This shows Puritan hostility to theatrical activity. Now, many American colonies came up with the laws prohibiting the production of drama or any theatrical activity. But this hostility could not or did not last for long. Because the colonies of America were aware of the new cultural beginnings, and they looked forward to intellectual and oratorical exercises. In the beginning, there was a great deal of hesitation, but eventually the early colleges in the various colonies in America allowed theatrical activities to take place. In theater and drama, students looked forward to some kind of relief and relaxation from tedious and monotonous and weary classical education. Theatrical activity and drama also gained popularity because it provided the necessary oratorical skills imperative for a successful career in business and law. Now we'll talk about colonial drama. Now, very soon, or you can say it did not take much time for theatrical activity to get integrated into the cultural experience of colonial America. In 1714, Robert Hunter, an English governor, wrote Andrew Boris, the first play which dramatized the growing sense of independence among the Americans. This play was the beginning of the course that American drama was to follow. In the next 2 centuries, the American theater became one of the most powerful political tools. The early settlers of America were concerned with different social and political problems like the arbitrariness and irrationality of British colonial rule. The British system of law and governance also created problems for these early settlers. There was an increasing sense of freedom growing among the settlers in the colonies. Many of the plays written during this period actually talk about America as a growing nation, and the nation which was ready to do away with the colonial government. Some of the popular plays of such type are The Paxton Boys, The Trial of Atticus, Robert Munford's The Candidates of the Humors of a Virginia Election, and Thomas Godfrey's The Prince of Parthia. Now, drama of the American revolutions. Things were beginning to come to such a point that the Americans were unable to continue to tolerate the control of the Britishers. Now, they considered themselves not as the subjects of the British rule, but they wanted to be identified as Americans, not as Englishmen living in America. Now, there was a sense of, though they were called Englishmen, but there was a sense of revolt or rebellion in them, in their minds, because they were fed up of the excessive British control. Now, or they did not want to be labeled as subjects of British rule. Soon after this, the settlers were charged with a sense of patriotism, and they clamored, or they started voicing their desire for American nation. This idea became a political force, and it was not without resistance. Because there were two groups. In one group were the persons who wanted an independent American nation, and on the other hand, there were those who wanted to continue as Britishers or Englishmen. Now, this condition, or I can say this tendency or this circumstance was very clearly depicted in plays of this time, and drama was used as a political weapon against the opposition by both the groups. Now, they just tried to express their ideas and emotions and feelings and views through theater, and they tried to express it by staging plays of the themes related to them. Now, we can say this gave way to, or you can say this led to the emergence of nationalistic drama, a strong feeling of nationhood emerged or appeared. And in 1776, America gained its independence and from the colonial forces of British Empire. But the task was not complete yet. America was still, though politically it was free, but culturally it was still under the influence of the British and needed freedom from that influence. Now, the clutches of British mentality were so strong that it took time for the Americans to get rid of them. Now, America between the War of Independence was just the beginning of what was going to be a long struggle for cultural freedom. Now, from the freedom from the British ideology. After the birth of American nation, all people living there wanted to prove that they had an identity of their own. This concern soon developed into a passion of the new republic. The first playwright of American nation or independent America, Robert Taylor. Robert Taylor. He wrote a play named The Contrast. And in 1787, the name of the play was The Contrast. In this play, he tried to portray the contrast between those Americans who were still the victims, who wanted to continue as victims of servility to the British, and those Americans who were themselves the true-born Yankee son of liberty, as put by one of the characters in the play. Now, though Taylor was not concerned about any other sense of drama than the nationalist sentiments, one can still see dramatic force to a certain extent in his play. Then there were playwrights like William Dunlop and then Major John Andre, and all these playwrights, they just wrote plays full of feelings of nationhood. Then emerged romantic and popular drama. Now, in 19th century, we find that the whole of Europe was under the wave of romanticism, and America was not left unaffected by this wave. Now, the beginning of this 19th century, we find that the nationalist sentiments began to fade, and America joined Europe in celebrating and responding to the artistic and aesthetic values of Romanticism. The playwrights, American playwrights in 19th century were occupied with their search for trans-American plots, along with the audience for plays with trans-American plots. There was a surge of American romantic tragedy plays during the first half of the 19th century. These plays focused on the romantic impulse of the dramatic character. The concerns and aspirations of a growing nation was, however, not captured by the romantic flavor of theater. The nation was growing and expanding westward. With the growing fervor of myth of the frontier, of the national imagination of American mind, the nationalistic idea once again firmed its root in American theater. Some of the plays which deal with this shift from romantic theater to nationalistic drama are Metamora by John Augustus, The Lion of the West by James Kirk Paulding, The Forest Rose by Samuel Wordsworth. The second important thing is that this plays the American protagonists who are urban-based and tragically inclined get ruralized and emerge comically. This was a peculiar feature of American drama, or you can say that the change which was visible, that from urban to rural. This was a very conspicuous shift. The protagonists, and they just tried to take life in a very light-hearted vein. This was a very peculiar feature. Now, a popular medium of national history in process was created with the help of Indian plays and the Yankee contribution to the development of theatre in America. Apart from this, both the popular drama of Yankees and Indian plays contributed in capturing the growing sentiment against the institution of slavery, and thus divided the nation, which resulted in the Civil War and put the nation into a situation wherein it was compelled to redefine itself. The task of national redefinition was set by Harriet Beecher Stowe's novel Uncle Tom's Cabin, which came in the year 1852. Now, let us talk about the American melodrama. From the very inception of American drama, it was dominated and influenced by different popular causes. But in the course of 19th century, American drama focused and concentrated on one dramatic aspect, which was melodrama. Melodrama ruled American theatre for almost 2 centuries. It would not be wrong to say that it dominated English and American stage for 2 centuries before modern drama, based on rational and scientific principles of realism and naturalism, could replace it in 20th century. Melodrama can simply be understood as a departure from credible towards a world of amazement and fantasy. Now, for some reason, melodramatic form of theatre survived and flourished throughout the 18th and 19th century in both England and America. Now, during this period, melodrama served 2 tasks. The first was to make the stage for American audience interesting and thrilling. You can say, people like to watch exciting events, even if they are on the stage, even if the events displayed were undramatic. And the second task was to talk about the problems concerning an individual's preoccupation with family, social position, wealth, and class. So, melodramatic form of theatre was not much concerned about the nation's problems, or you can say national problems. In many of the places, melodrama presented nation divided between 2 societies. It was, in a way, you can say satirical or ironical, and it produced humor. Now, one of these consisted of aristocratic people who are rich, and the other consisted of other people from North and South America. Now, these tried to draw attention to the real problems of the country. Now, some of such plays are The Poor of the New York by Boccaccio Cult, The Girl of the Gold West in the Heart of Maryland, While America was growing and evolving as a nation during 19th century, the American theater, dominated by melodramatic form, was concerned about the conflict between the classes of the nation and aimed for reconciliation. In a normal melodramatic form of drama, a world is carefully planned which consists of misunderstanding, intrigue, sudden danger, loss of position and prestige. All the tension created by these elements is resolved towards the end of the play. The focus of dramatic action in such plays is not to present realism, but to romanticize the actions, while at the same time the playwright plays an important function, which is to correct the problems of social conflicts. Now, one thing we should keep in mind, that the American drama was, right from the beginning, conscious about the actorly tradition. The importance of the actors was the greatest. Now, an actorly tradition was displayed by American drama throughout its long journey, from the early colleges as an exercise in oratorical skills to its emergence in the 19th century as a popular medium, both in America and in Europe. Now, during the 18th and 19th century, American audiences were attracted to a great extent by Shakespeare's play, and this made a great impact. On the American stage, the preeminence was acquired by the actor in the place of the playwright. Now, as time passed, now there was an emergence of people like stage managers, and this made the change. From actors, the importance was shifted to stage managers. And gradually we find drama moving towards realistic drama, or you can say theatrical realism. So, in this journey, in this long process of development, we find American drama growing gradually, but changing its form from time to time. Now, the person who should be called responsible for establishing American drama as a literary genre, modern American drama, is Eugene O'Neill. In 1920, he just tried, with the help of his plays, he tried to prove that American drama has shifted its focus from fiction or imagination to reality. They tried, the playwrights of the 20th century, they tried to portray the situations that were happening in their times and the circumstances through which the ordinary people were passing. Another playwright which we should mention is Arthur Miller. In his plays, we find the typical American characteristics of the Americans, a strong love of liberty. Another thing, a passion for progress or development, a growing passion to collect wealth. And all these characteristics are found in the plays of the playwrights of 20th century American dramatists. And now the American drama has come of age. It has grown, it has developed, and we will certainly try to talk about Eugene O'Neill and Arthur Miller, two eminent playwrights of America.